Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Ooh, yikes. I can't believe I'm saying it again, but I'm also not surprised that I'm saying it because, like I told you, there's gonna be phases to this thing. Yep, I'm saying it again. Things just got worse for Bud Light for the 25th time. And I'm not just saying it because I need content. To be honest, I really don't. And the whole Bud Light thing, I mean, it's not viral like it used to be. I'm not milking the topic like I've seen some other YouTubers. I saw this one guy who in the last week has made 5 Bud Light videos. There's certainly not 5 Bud Light videos worth of news in the last 7 days, I'll tell you that. 1 or 2, however, absolutely. And it's funny how everything is kind of going exactly as expected. 3 days ago, we covered how Bud Light is being removed from shelves and taps across the nation, which of course was expected. If it's not selling, it's going to get removed from the bars, it's going to get removed from retail shelves. As a business, you can't justify shelf space and tap space for something that isn't moving and isn't producing profit. We knew the stock was going to tank after they released their Q2 earnings, which core profit was down at 28%. Not exactly looking good. This update, however, this desperate move is not something I predicted, but in hindsight, it makes sense. We're now getting reports that Bud Light parent company, Anheuser-Busch, has been forced in a position to sell off 8 of its beloved brands. They're so desperate to sort of right the ship financially, they're in such a bad financial position that they had to sell 8 brands, including everything that comes with those brands, all the facilities, all the employees, because they so desperately need the cash in order to move forward. After this marketing disaster fiasco, let me update you guys on everything that's going on here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, take a look at the headline. I was not kidding, not exaggerating. Anheuser-Busch is selling 8 of its beloved brands as Bud Light drama plagues its business. The beer company is expected to finalize the massive sale by the end of 2023. It's been months since the onset of the Bud Light controversy, but the decision to dive headfirst into the thicket of American culture wars is only just catching up with Anheuser-Busch InBev. The data suggests that Bud Light is hurting. As of the week ending July 29th, Bud Light sales dropped for the 17th straight week in a row, down 29% year over year following the company's decision to partner with TikTok individual who shall not be named. Bud Light is still struggling. Here's Bump Williams Consulting / Nielsen NIQ data showing the latest update. Bud Light is down 29.3%, and that's just their flagship brand. Budweiser down 13%, Michelob Ultra down 2.3%, and Busch Light down 6.4%, a bloody disaster across the board. Its financials might not be cheery, but its struggles extend beyond the accounting books. Bud Light lost out as the most popular beer in America to Modelo, and images on social media now regularly pop up showing Bud Light being sold for less than water. Now, Anheuser-Busch is selling several of its brands to a Canadian company as it weathers the unfortunate storm. The brands will go to Tilray, TLRY, a Canadian consumer goods company publicly listed on the NASDAQ, which owns several cannabis and craft brew companies under its brand. According to early reports, Anheuser-Busch will sell the following brands to Tilray: Shock Top, Breckenridge Brewery, Blue Point Brewery Company, 10 Barrel Brewery Company, Red Hook Brewery, Midway Brothers Brewing, Square Mile Cider Company, and Highball Energy. Anheuser-Busch president Andy Thomas claimed that Tilray approached the mega brewer early in 2023, but he did not disclose when the deal had been solidified or whether the Bud Light backlash played into the parent company's decision to sell 8 of its brands to an international conglomerate. But obviously it played a role. You don't desperately sell off profitable beer brands, 8 of them to be precise, a week after your quarterly profit reports come out as a total disaster, which showed that your sales were down nearly $400 million. That's not a coincidence. What they're trying to do is cut the bleeding. They're trying to get some money in. It was probably a multi-$100 million deal. Maybe the details will be made public at some point. Obviously, they want that money coming in so that possibly their Q3 earnings report won't look as disastrous. They can offset some of the losses or some of the decrease in sales with this new influx in cash. They're doing this because they're hurting and hurting bad financially, and it's most likely going to get worse for them moving forward. They know this as well as everybody else knows this because it's obvious. I mean, just going back to what I read like 2 minutes ago, we're in week 17 since this consumer boycott started. Week 17, folks. That's a long time. Usually consumer boycotts fall off after like 5 days. It's week 17. That's basically 4 months. We're 4 months into this consumer boycott thing, and not only is it still relevant news, not as viral as it was, it's still relevant. People are still tuned in and still want to know what's going on. Not only that, but it keeps getting worse in terms of sales data. Year over year, down 29.3%. That might be one of the sharpest declines we've seen. I think the worst that we saw was like 31%. It's still persisting. That's gotta hurt, and for the most part, when you're running a business, it's all based on projections, like where are we headed? Usually companies want to be growing. They want to be stocking up on more inventory. They want to be increasing sales. They want to open up more retail stores. The more, the merrier. The more, the bigger the profits, the more growth. The more money we're spending, the more money that's coming in. Bud Light's doing the exact opposite. Bud Light is panicking right now because most likely companies like Costco are telling them, listen, we know we have a long history of business and yada, 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 but business is business and your stuff's just not selling. We can't justify purchasing 100 containers of Bud Light. We just can't do it. We'll keep you in some of the locations where it's still selling, but in the middle of the country and in markets that aren't, I guess, politically favorable, we just can't put Bud Light on the shelves. That's pretty much the conversation I think that's going on behind the scenes. And again, it comes right back to that infamous Michael Jordan statement, Republicans buy shoes too. That was a genius statement, and it's true. You don't want to get involved in politics. Just look at a political map, for instance. The red, those are Republican districts. That's the majority of the country. If you get under those people's skin, well then you're probably not going to sell too well in those areas. Kind of a stupid business model, don't you think? Getting involved in culture wars, getting involved in politics? I can't think of anything dumber, unless your product is targeting that specific demographic and you have no intention of growing beyond. But if you're a publicly listed, publicly traded company that needs to show endless growth, you literally need Republicans. You need people of all walks of life to be on your side. You need to be apolitical and you need to expand based on different culture groups that don't clash with others. This is game over, man. I mean, this is brutal. I mean, the gloom, the business depression, this sort of depressive dark cloud that must be hovering over the Bud Light headquarters. I mean, it's probably bad. But of course, I don't feel bad because they absolutely deserve it. I mean, look at what we did. Look at the influence that we have. This little tweet interaction is going to really put it into perspective. Cenk Uygur writes on Twitter, "No, you overestimate how big your tiny right-wing faction is. The radical right that drives almost all of right-wing media and politics is actually a small but very loud minority." I mean, total projection, but let's move on. They scream and whine so much that it creates a cacophony of sound and fury, but it signifies nothing. Ben Shapiro then responded, "You should check in with Bud Light on this subject. We got power, man. We got influence to change the world, to mobilize billions of dollars in consumer action. And boy, oh boy, are corporate boardrooms aware of that exact fact. This is what winning looks like, folks. Bud Light will probably never recover from this. And I really only have one reaction to that. A very simple reaction. Good. That's what I got for you guys. That's the update. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Possibly subscribe if you want to join us here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.